News Headlines is presented by Calvo's Insurance, a legacy of trust, serving Micronesia since 1938. Matson and the Adahi Tano Program. Cars Plus, home of Guam's first and only lifetime limited powertrain warranty. McDonald's of Guam, I'm loving it. And King's Restaurants, always open, always local, and serving up favorites for over 40 years.
Ahead on Primetime, a 60-year-old woman is the island's 20th COVID-connected fatality, passing away this afternoon at Guam Memorial Hospital. Plus, one woman shares her story recovering from COVID. And Nestor Lecanto reports on how the Port Authority of Guam has managed to remain operational through the COVID pandemic.
Hafaday, good evening. The island has recorded another death connected to the coronavirus. According to the Joint Information Center, she was a 60-year-old woman with comorbidities. She was admitted to the Guam Memorial Hospital on August 27th after testing positive at Guam Regional Medical City on that same day. The patient passed away at around 12 noon. According to the governor, Jeff, Lieutenant Governor Josh, and I join this woman's family and friends in mourning for her loss and in remembrance for the life she lived. The governor adding, this virus has taken too much too soon. All of us need to do what we can to protect our loved ones and our entire island community. Do what we know works. Stay home, wear your masks, and wash your hands. That is how we can end this fight. This marks Guam's 20th COVID-connected fatality. Hospitalizations at the Guam Memorial Hospital continue to rise. Hospital Administrator Lillian Posadas tells KUAM the latest numbers. There are now 53 COVID-19 patients admitted at GMH. Posadas says 13 of those patients are currently receiving ICU level of care. 11 of those 13 patients are on ventilators. Posadas says that GMH stopped accepting non-COVID ICU patients as the island's only public hospital continues to struggle with capacity issues. Asan Mayor Frankie Salas mourning the loss of his daughter Jasmine Salas, Guam's youngest COVID-19 related fatality. Salas tells KUAM his daughter was taken by ambulance to Guam Memorial Hospital for shortness of breath on Friday, but she was released on the same day. Even though she was COVID positive with pre-existing conditions that made her vulnerable to the virus, on Monday she was pronounced dead on arrival at GRMC. At just 31 years old, Salas says he knew his carrera was going to struggle with the coronavirus, and while he said he doesn't want to blame GMH, he feels things could have gone differently.
I hope there's an eye-opener on what happened already, because right now it's really not a good experience what I'm facing right now.
If they had put her in that hospital, do you think that your daughter would still be alive today?
Yes.
Mayor Salas is also
Yes.
COVID positive, and since he is in self-isolation at home, he can't be there for his family as they prepare to bury his youngest girl. He last spoke to Jasmine the night before she died.
Before she passed away, all she says to me, I love you, Dad. I love you too, Jasmine. And that was the last word between me and her. But if she's still alive now, I would say, Jasmine, I always love you.
You can catch our full interview with the mayor and Chris Barnett on our KUAM News Facebook page. In spite of the rising number of deaths related to COVID, there are hundreds of people that have recovered from the virus. Tyler Mazzanoni reports.
Among the countless COVID recovery cases is 33-year-old Wilhelmina Dios Duenas. She tested positive for the coronavirus about 1 month ago and spent 2 weeks at the government's isolation facility at Days Inn.
They checked on you 3 times a day. They take your temperature and your heart rate and your oxygen level in the morning when they deliver breakfast. Then they also check it in the evening when they deliver dinner. And then like midday, they give you a phone call. One of the nurses at the nurses station will call you and they'll go over like the checklist of symptoms and they'll ask you, are you experiencing any of these? The only symptom on that checklist that I remember experiencing was just the loss of smell, which lasted throughout my entire stay.
According to Duenas, she experienced a few headaches, was nauseous, but never had a fever and never lost her sense of taste. Fortunately, she says she had a mild case and even found humor in the ordeal.
Shortness of breath is, I'm fat, so that's normal.
And while she jokes about it, Dueñas acknowledges the severity of the situation, because not only was she infected, but other members of her family in the same house. Like her, thankfully, all of them recovered from COVID. At the end of the day, she is urging everyone to follow the governor's stay-at-home orders, and in your own unique way, stay safe and entertained.
For our first isolation, I bought like one of those little blow-up swimming pools, and I like hung out in the swimming pool, like was Skyping with all my friends and like house party and all that stuff. So it's possible, and I understand how crazy everybody's going at home.
Just because we're in P-Core 1 for Wilhelmina, it doesn't mean it can't be P-Core fun, but at home. Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Tyler Matsinani.
What's happening at the Guam Memorial Hospital has a big impact on what decisions will be made in the next few days by the governor. Will the island remain in P-Core 1 and under a stay-at-home order? According to members of our Physicians Advisory Group, a huge determining factor is GMH.
It's hell. Pardon my language.
His message couldn't be more clear. A caller into the link making an urgent plea to the community that the coronavirus is serious business. His 23-year-old diabetic daughter was admitted to GMH on Saturday after testing positive for COVID-19.
I can take falling off a 10-foot roof over this any day. But not being able to reach out and comfort your daughter who's crying because she's afraid, she's in pain, they were constantly drawing blood from her. She has to wear this CPAP mask because of her breathing.
The caller, who wished to remain anonymous, is on dialysis. He, along with his wife and their 2 sons, were tested today, and results are pending. According to the chairperson of the governor's Physicians Advisory Group, Dr. Hoa Win, people like the caller into the link are most vulnerable. Dialysis patients, according to Dr. Win, who test positive, will have to stay a mandatory 14 days at GMH.
It's very important, especially with the young population from 20 to 40. If you have a family member that have dialysis in the family member, then just don't even come close to them. Protect them at all costs.
And as repetitive as it sounds, island residents are urged to continue wearing masks, social distance, wash your hands, practice good hygiene, and stay home. Because the last place you want to go is the hospital. GMH is already full to capacity, specifically the ICU. According to Public Health Medical Director Dr. Jana Menglotnya, it's likely if the number of hospitalizations continue to peak, P-Core 1 could be extended. But that decision ultimately lies with the governor.
It would probably be challenging to open with the numbers the way they are, because we're sort of maxed out at the hospital at this point. It's going to take time.
Right.
We'll see if this maneuver works. If it works, then good. If it doesn't, then we've got to get a new plan to knock this down.
And according to our caller on the link, we all must do our part.
I just want to say to people out there, this is some real stuff. Take it seriously. Take it like the person next to you has it.
And staying with GMH, there are now 6 combat medics from the Guam National Guard's Joint Task Force 671 Task Force Medical that are now on the floor at the Guam Memorial Hospital's COVID-19 care unit. The medics are slated to perform tasks such as vital sign monitoring and recording, phlebotomy and glucose screening, pneumatic compression device management, and other tasks that will better enable GMH staff to focus on critical care. As Guam's supply lifeline, the Port Authority is doing as much as it can to remain operational throughout the COVID pandemic. So far, 6 port employees and 5 customs inspectors assigned to the port have been infected. General Manager Rory Respicio.
We are doing everything we can to assist public health in the contact tracing, and the protocols provide that as soon as we have a confirmed positive, we automatically reach out to the employee. For those who have been confirmed positive, we reach out to them daily. We check on their status. and just to make sure that we do whatever we can to help.
The port has set up its own internal contact tracing team, and several employees, including Respicio, are certified contact tracers under CDC guidelines. They've tested nearly 300 close contacts, and 3 of the infected employees have since returned to work.
When we started seeing the potentiality of having a port member exposed, either ourselves or through a family member, I reached out right away to Governor Leon Guerrero, who then instructed that the port clinic be stand up. And since then, we have about almost 24,000 port visits.
He says there are a variety of preventative measures that have been implemented, such as taking the temperature of all those entering the port, setting up hand washing stations, and daily deep cleaning, all designed to keep the port running.
So the whole goal here is with the CDC guidelines for critical infrastructure worker is to ensure that the supply chain is not interrupted or disrupted, but at the same time, protect the health and safety of all the employees.
For Guam's News Network, I'm Nestor Lecanto.
Meanwhile, the port has delayed operations on a Matson cargo ship that arrived this morning with a dead crew member aboard. GM Respicio says the man was the vessel's cook, and out of an abundance of caution, the body was swabbed for COVID exposure, and they're waiting for test results.
The crew members were swabbed, and so we're waiting for the results of that swab, but notwithstanding what those results are, our protocols provide that there's no interaction with the crew member. Our employees are not allowed to have shared use of their common areas, to use their lavatories. Because, you know, when pre-COVID, if a port employee is working off the vessel and there's a restroom there, of course they're going to use the facility or they're going to interact with the crew. But those days are long gone.
We did receive a press release from Matson. It says that it follows CDC guidelines and protocols to ensure the safety of all personnel at sea and shore. All crew members were recently tested for COVID-19 and all received negative test results. Vessel crew members are not allowed to go ashore at the ports they visit to reduce any risk of exposure to COVID-19. Additional Matson protocols include wearing face masks in the presence of others, washing and sanitizing hands, often sanitizing common and personal areas, practicing physical distancing, and limiting access for shoreside personnel. The military has confirmed that hundreds of participants will be taking part in the Valiant Shield exercise. Those arriving on island will be staying in hotels for the duration of the exercise. Prior to their arrival, service members spent more than 14 days in quarantine and tested negative for COVID-19. They will only be permitted to travel from their hotel room to their appointed place of military duty on base. According to Joint Region Marianas Public Affairs Officer Lieutenant Commander Rick Moore, this restriction will be strictly enforced and is for the health and safety of both the local community as well as the service members involved in the exercise. It was around April when Guam received a little over $117 million in CARES Act funding. According to Department of Administration Director Edward Byrne, to date, roughly $50 million has been spent.
Some of it is we've been used to pay for the hazard pay, which is payable to in particular, the frontline responders. Some of it is PPE equipment, that we have to provide to people working. Some of it is medical. I guess one of the biggest slices is the QFAC facilities, where we have now a fair number of people in quarantine and a few people in isolation.
Burns says $17 million was paid out for the Programan Salapi Adzurini Tautau program, while $16 million was paid out for the Gita Small Business Relief Program. At the end of this month, DOA will have to turn in a detailed expenditure report to the U.S. Treasury Inspector General to show how the CARES Act money is being spent. Stay tuned. More news after the break.
Get up-to-the-minute news, plus access to alerts, streaming radio, promotions, and more on your mobile device by downloading the KUAM News mobile app, available at the App Store now.
While we've all been through a lot over the years,
typhoons, earthquakes, and now COVID-19,
we've been able to get through these together.
For more than 80 years,
Calvo's Insurance has been protecting your homes, your businesses,
and the health of your family.
We are here today and we'll be here tomorrow.
There are better days ahead. Tomorrow's a new day filled with hope and choices.
The possibilities of what we can achieve together are limitless.
Let's continue to work together to ensure a brighter tomorrow for all of us.
We give most of our waking hours to preserve yours. When we're in it, nothing exists but you and the person that needs your help. It can be difficult at times. You can't help but take the weight of what you've seen home with you. There are days or nights that I need to leave it all behind, to let it go in the wind. But I'll always come back. I am a first responder, and I have given my life to this.
It makes myself and it makes my team members very proud to work for an organization that has been on island for many years with its focus on reliability, dependability, and commitment to the communities that they operate in.
Matson's a great corporate citizen to the community.
We all benefit from any sort of environmental commitment we make. One of the ways that we do that is with our Adahi Utano program. There's action behind it, and so action breeds commitment.
With the Kaimana Gila coming to Guam, this brings a new age and modernization to the island.
It's exciting for me because it's a brand new ship and we can carry more freight into the islands. It just shows growth for Guam and Micronesia.
Matson would be nothing without its customers, and we hope to continue to serve you for decades to come.
KUAM News, winner of the 2020 Regional Edward R. Murrow Award for Excellence in Social Media.
Welcome back. Public health will have the funding it needs to carry out its critical mission. That was the point raised by Health Committee Chairperson Senator Therese Terlahi in a Dear Colleague letter she wrote in response to public criticism from Adelup over the recently passed budget bill.
And I wanted to assure them and ensure the public health employees that in my discussions with public health, the budget that was allocated to them is enough to cover payroll. It is not going to result in furloughs, and also that it was going to be enough to cover Medicaid for the year.
But there will be a $3.7 million cut for public health, as there will be for most other agencies. And that's the sticking point. The administration has been pushing for a revenue projection of $7 million more than what senators adopted to cover the budget needs.
I don't think that the body was comfortable. Our Office of Finance and Budget advised us against that, and they said they could not support that type of recommendation. And I think there's some out in the business community who think our current revenue projections are still optimistic, and OFB admits that they are.
But she says the governor still has 15% transfer authority to shift around for critical agency needs. And in this time of pandemic, public health is one of those agencies that's shouldering a lot of the responsibility.
Hopefully our services will not decline. We need more. They need more. And that's really where they're going to suffer, is if they can't get more fast enough. We need them to succeed. And that's really my biggest concern. They're holding us up when it comes to the tracing. They're going to allow our economy to open by the success of their tracing and their investigation efforts. And without that, I don't think we can plan an economy.
The governor has until Friday to act on the budget bill. For Guam's News Network, I'm Nestor Lecanto.
The Guam Memorial Hospital is back to accepting Take Care members effective today. The company announced it has reached an agreement with GMH to allow a third-party independent auditor, Ernst & Young, paid for by Take Care, to reconcile $17.4 million in claims and a $6.3 million payment that are in dispute. The health insurance company says it made a $1.7 million good faith payment today, and GMH agreed to accept its members again. Take Care further said if the audit shows it owes any money, it will pay up within 2 weeks. The billing dispute dates back several years. The hospital had previously accepted Take Care members, but as self-pay patients. The governor again has until Friday to decide on the proposed fiscal year 2021 budget passed recently by your senators. The budget includes an $11 million cut to the Guam Department of Education. The Guam Education Board met on Tuesday to talk about the ramifications of this major reduction. GEB Vice Chair Mark Mangiola saying some tough decisions are going to have to be made.
With this 5% reduction, this $11 million, and I'm
frankly, I'm really surprised that, out of all the major issues, healthcare, public safety, and education, man, these agencies got some seriously big hits. And I'm just kind of concerned that if we wait to the last minute and we're in the middle of this pandemic war, and we're in the middle of trying to figure out, the opening of school face-to-face, the community is very stressed, and there's a lot of anxiety out there. And then on top of it, with our budget issues and the uncertainty of that, that's going to be very difficult for us to kind of operate moving forward.
Manjola says if the budget bill is signed and the $11 million cut remains intact, GEB and GDOE may have to look at shutting down or consolidating schools. Now, that was the bad news. Now for some good news. The U.S. Department of Education has notified GDOE that it will have the opportunity to begin transitioning away from the oversight of a third-party fiduciary agent, or TFPA. It was in 2003 the feds designated GDOE as a high-risk grantee for failing to properly account for how federal monies were being spent. Over the last several years, GDOE has been spending at least $2.5 million annually for a third party. Following a virtual monitoring visit in July, the feds acknowledged the notable progress GDOE has made. The local education department has until January 31st of next year to demonstrate sustained improvements and assume the responsibilities of the third-party fiduciary agent. Guam Department of Education Superintendent John Fernandez, in the meantime, says he will be meeting with parents and students with special needs on Thursday.
We wanted to make sure we dedicated time just to understanding, the supports and services and how they're playing out in this distance learning environment. So I just encourage any parents who have those questions or concerns, join us for our session.
The meeting will be held via Zoom at 5:30 p.m. The link can be found on GDOE's Facebook page. 47-year-old Anthony Earl Leon Guerrero Taitagui was arrested and charged with 2 counts of second-degree criminal sexual conduct as first-degree felonies and 2 counts of fourth-degree CSC as misdemeanors. According to court documents, the alleged incidents took place between December 2014 and January 2015, and the complaint was made in March 2015. The victim was 9 at the time of the report. The victim alleges she was asleep during the assault, and Taitagui had woke her while placing his hands in her pants. Well, coming up, we head over to Saipan for regional headlines. You're watching KUAM.
Your community calendar is brought to you by Taco Bell. Whether it's your first meal or your 4th meal, we've got you covered. Taco Bell, live Mas.
Nachos come with rules, like don't take the fully loaded chips, don't hog the guac, and never take the last one. But with the Grande Nachos box from Taco Bell, you can break all the rules, because this meal's all yours.
Small businesses are an important foundation in our island's growing economy. They provide essential goods and services to our community, while preserving local traditions and creating new job opportunities. Your responses to the 2020 Census of Guam will help small businesses receive the information they need to thrive for years to come. Respond today. Together, we can make a difference.
What does a brilliant cut mean to me? It means consistent quality, right across the age expressions. We never compromise on quality and flavour.
It's also the very particular cut of spirit we take to fill our barrels. Tasting it today is just as exciting as the first time I tasted it. That is the brilliant cut.
When I need to pay my Docomo Pacific bills or manage my account, all I do is visit mydocomopacific.com. It's easy to set up. I just visited the website and clicked on the link to set up my account. I filled out the registration page starting with my account number. I received a text message with a temporary username and password. After making initial changes on my security settings, I'm in! Now I can make payments or manage my Docomo Pacific account without needing to leave home. With Docomo Pacific, we're better together.
Welcome back with regional headlines. Here's KSPN 2 News.
Half a day Guam, here are the headlines for CNMI.
Maria Terlahi says she wants to help save the earth. Early this morning, she headed to the Civic Beach Park to do a little labor of love.
I advocate love and respect, especially for our environment. A lot of things that I do is push for the goals of the Micronesia Challenge, which is to preserve and conserve 30% of our marine resources, 30% of our marine resources, and 20% of our terrestrial. So on this beach, we can see that we have trash from land to our seas, and we want to promote that goal by cleaning our beaches.
Ria was joined by family members, friends, and people of the community who share the same concern for the environment.
I created a flyer and it was open to the public, but I have so much support from my friends and family that are here. A lot of people here I've never met before, so I'm so grateful to meet new people and that want to make a difference.
The cleanup at Susupi was organized with the help of Ria's mom, who was very happy with the turnout.
I believe they tried to do all the way from the Susupi Beach Park, and they wanted to go as far down all the way to the end where the intersection is in front of Micro Toyota. And so of course we told them, if you're tired, come back, but if you can keep going, and we'll pick up the trash wherever you guys finish up so you don't have to carry it all the way back. And so it's been a great turnout. We've got a good, I want to say more than 100 people showed up today, which was beyond our expectation. My daughter has planned this throughout the week, and just through social media, and friends passing word of mouth, we've got a great turnout, great support for the cause, great support from Maria.
Maria is also a contestant in the 2020 Miss Earth Northern Marianas pageant.
I'm running for Miss Earth to inspire through education. I truly believe that inspiration will awaken new possibilities and change standard habits like single-use plastic, and also push to motivate a drive to be educated.
Reporting for KSPN News, I'm Sally Lemis.
For more news, visit saipantv.com. For KSPN2, I'm Ashley McDowell.
Jason has your birthday shout-outs next.
Our island is a gift that we have shared with the world. But in the stillness of today, our island is asking everyone to give us a moment. To be with our family, Ifamagonte, our children, our grandchildren, Itanota, our land, our thoughts, to be creative. Fanhongi, to have faith. To be with the things we know and the things you've come to love. Give us a moment. And we will share one together soon.
Welcome back, and now for your favorite part of the show, your birthday shout-outs from the Cold Stone Creamery Birthday Club.
All right, on September 9th, we say happy birthday to Desiree Nicole Alianza. Happy birthday, Day Day. God is surely blessed with such an amazing little girl, and we love you always. Say Daddy, Mommy, Ren, Jaylee, Carmelin, and Boboy. Jasmine Santiago has a birthday today, and we wish our birthday princess the very best. Coming from Mommy, Daddy, Mama Rose, Uncle Chris, Grandma, Papa, and Bobo. They say they love you so, so much. Rowena Timothy, happiest birthday to Mali Ro. Have a great day, love always, the Petautau fam. Jaden Flores and Izzy Flores both celebrate birthdays today. Jaden is 15 and Izzy is lucky number 7. We hope you enjoy your special day. We love you, says your loving family. Alicia Barcenas, happy birthday to you. We appreciate and love you, say all of your coworkers. And happy birthday number 1 to Eliza J. Santos. Liza, we love you, Bulala, says your family. Happy birthday to one of our own here, the boss. Happy birthday to KUAM's Marie Calvomont, who I have known since the 7th grade. So she's a very, very dear friend, a really sweetheart of a person, and we wish her the very best. Happy birthday, Marie. And a very happy belated birthday, because born yesterday, or on September 8th, that is, was Ricky N. Regis. We want to wish our dad a happy birthday. We love you. Thanks for all that you do for us. Hope everybody today has a very special birthday.
And that's going to do it for me here on Primetime, but stay tuned. In Full Zoom is next with Nestor Locanto. Stay safe and stay home.
In Full Zoom is presented to you by Calvo Enterprises, Inc.
Off day, everyone. Nestor Locanto here with another segment of In Full Zoom. Today we're going to talk about the tourism industry, in particular the recovery update that GVB has been working on. And it's really my pleasure to introduce 3 of the top guys in the industry. First of all, of course, former Governor Carl T.C. Gutierrez. Have a day, Governor.
Good morning, Nestor, Jason.
And Carl, of course, is the president of the GVB. The vice president is another familiar face, Mr. Jerry Paris. Have a day, Jerry.
Hi, good morning.
And last but not least, one of the board members, the vice chairman of the board, as a matter of fact, Mr. Milton Morinaga. Have a day, Milton.
Hey, good morning.
All right, Governor, let me just start with you and give us, I guess, where are we at with respect to the tourism industry? What's the latest?
Well, you know that we had been in the past very hopeful about moving forward and having the tourist industry open up, and we did that in July. But the problem was that the 3 source markets, Japan, South Korea, and Taiwan, were not ready to put us on their list to send their tourists to us or even out of their country. And so we were just working very hard and trying to make sure that we send the message out that we are a safe destination and that we have every protocol in place to keep us safe and to make them safe. Unfortunately, it didn't pan out in a continued way that way. And we are now facing a very dire situation where we're pretty much up in the numbers right now, where we're making even international news that we are kind of out of the park in the way that we have spiked. And so Jerry and the GVB crew and I have been trying to see what we can do from inside to be able to get the message out to the people that we need to be able to do our part to be able to bring down this number, flatten the curve. If we are ever to see any kind of tourists coming to Guam, or even having the opportunity to continue to market Guam, that we're safe. And I know that the people we deal with at the GVB here are the people that are the stakeholders in the industry, and they are up in arms. Some of them are, of course, protesting, and to try to change the executive orders and to open up more businesses. However, that's none of our call. We are under the guidance of the governor and the Department of Public Health and Social Services. And we're trying to get the message out that let's do our part. Whether you don't like the governor's decision, but you can never, change her mind if we are going to be at odds and be polarized. And that was the message we're trying to get out to people. Let's just do what the governor's asking us to do and see how that pans out, and trying to educate the public that we all need to be able to get serious about when they tell you to lock down and do social distancing, wear your mask and wash your hands. It's not just a game we're playing. And I hope that the people of Guam realize that, and GVB will do its part in helping the governor and public health get that message out that this is serious. If we are going to get people back to work, we got to do our part so that it would allow GVB to open up.
All right. And Jerry, as the governor alluded to, it's important that we manage people's expectations. So what should we expect?
Following up on the governor's comments there, Nestor, let me just go back a little bit and just recap basically what GVB was doing and what we are doing now because of the spike in COVID. Initially, while we were still under 2% positivity rate, and we really were still doing well, the role that GVB took as a marketing arm for the island is to continue messaging in our source markets to create aspirational images of Guam so that they keep us top of mind when they start traveling. At the same time, if you recall, we were also trying to work with the different source markets to try to generate a bubble kind of a quarantine relationship, which never really materialized for other reasons that I won't go into detail at this time. So initially, the emphasis was marketing Guam, keeping Guam top of mind in the minds of our source markets. What has happened in the last couple of weeks has been this alarming spike in COVID. So instead of focusing attention on marketing messages for Guam and aspirational travel to Guam, we basically pulled back at the direction of the governor, Carl Gutierrez, and the board, and refocus our attention to solving this problem. And what can we do as GVB to solve this problem? So what we've done is we've shifted away from marketing the island and creating this image to, as I call it, doing what we can underneath the hood to facilitate and enable the solution to this problem. Because at the end of the day, we need to reduce the positivity rate of COVID, and we need to go back to 0 deaths. I mean, it's very, very sad to see this thing happening. So philosophically, we're not so much concerned now with the messaging on getting Guam back to the economy that it enjoyed, as much as working with the health community stakeholders to solve this problem. And we're doing that by actually enabling and facilitating a variety of meetings for different interest groups and different individuals with a stake in this thing to roll out a contact tracing app that the governor will be expected to announce tomorrow. So what we're doing is priming the message, so to speak, you know, Nestor, so that when the governor makes the announcement on this contact app tracing tool, that will have maximum impact and maximum adoption of the app that would go a long ways to help us with our contact tracing, because this is not replacing contact tracing, but it's a tool that can really make contact tracing more effective. And so that's where the energies and resources of GVB currently are devoted to. So that's what I meant by when I said that you might not be seeing a lot of messaging from GVB and marketing and that sort of thing, because our resources are internalized to facilitate and enable the people who can solve this problem. And to that point, the people who can solve this problem is the people of Guam, not us in GVB, or not, you know, the hotels or the airlines. It's the people of Guam. And so that's the focus of our energy and our effort right now, is working to maximize participation by the people on Guam who will be the ones to solve this problem. And so that's kind of, in a long-winded way, explaining where we are with the tourism part of our business.
In Full Zoom is presented to you by Calvo Enterprises, Inc. GU Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's, offers fully covered loading and unloading area with individual pin-coded gate and door access. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information.
We give most of our waking hours to preserve yours. When we're in it, nothing exists but you and the person that needs your help. It can be difficult at times. You can't help but take the weight of what you've seen home with you. There are days or nights that I need to leave it all behind, to let it go in the wind. But I'll always come back. I am a first responder, and I have given my life to this.
MTO Maintenance will now completely sanitize your home, office, or business with state-of-the-art commercial sprayers. For over 30 years, MTO Maintenance has been committed to the health and safety of our customers. And now, more than ever, a clean home, office, carpets, and furniture is a necessity to our island. Give us a call today. Stay healthy and stay safe, Guam.
Call 647-6861 for an appointment.
In Full Zoom is presented to you by Calvo Enterprises, Inc.
Milton, you know, it's clear from what the governor and what Jerry have been saying is that we really first need to solve the health issue, the pandemic crisis first. But beyond that, once that is under control, what do you think about calls to reimagine the tourism industry? Guam has always been known, as you know, as more of a, for its price and proximity, if you will. Well, what do we need to reimagine how we're going to be selling Guam to visitors beyond the pandemic? Milton, you there? Did lose Milton?
My voice wasn't there.
Oh, all right.
Okay, yeah. So the thing is, you know, we got to do our own cleanup first. And our cleanup is, like the governor and Jerry has said, and everybody's saying, is we got to clean our own house. You know, we cannot invite people without with a house that's dirty. Okay, it's a mess. And right now, you know, unfortunately, we have a spike and all that. And people in Guam, people in Korea, people in Japan, they're all watching us. They're watching how safe we are. As soon as we can declare that we are safe and we are taking all measures to how to trace people, how to isolate people, the medical facility is intact and everything is A-okay, people will travel. But the people, like for instance, Okinawa having the same problem. They have a spike. So to them, they can lock people out. okay? And Hawaii, looks what's happening. They're spiking every day. Now they have a real strict protocol where if you're caught at the beach, you're fined $5,000. We're not at that stage yet, but at least they are panicking. They're in a panic mode, so they are managing this issue with all their might. They can't take care. But people are watching. So the news from Japan, when they talk about Hawaii, is what are they doing? Is the news. They don't talk about the beach. They don't talk about the Diamond Head or whatever. But they talk about how safe or how not safe, right? So Guam, luckily, it's not in a big news yet saying how not safe Guam is. So that's good on our part. So as soon as we can get our act together and get things going, and this is everybody's problem, not only essential business or non-essential, this is everybody's problem. And if we can solve this, then we can recover this island quicker. And imagine the days where no mask, eating first-class food, and enjoying the travel, riding an airplane is not going to be the norm anymore. You're going to be like, I don't want to travel long haul anymore. I don't want to wear a mask for 8 hours, 6 hours. 3.5 hours is our destination. Our market, Taiwan, Korea, Japan is 3.5. That everybody can bear with it. And you can starve 3.5 hours. You can eat just minimum, right? But that's a market that we got to take care of. I'm not going to go after Europe or anywhere that's going to take long haul. You know, they have other, that's why even the European, they travel within their own continent. Right? Japan, they're concentrating only in domestic right now because they think it's safe, but they too are very worried. They want to go to different prefecture that's safe, and they have a medical facility that's accommodating. But even right now, Go To Travel campaign the government is doing, or Go To Eat, they're basically subsidizing restaurants and hotels for accommodation and money-wise. But they too say, okay, Tokyo, you have a big spike. I'm not going to accept you to use this coupon to travel within domestically too. So they have to contain their own on their own issue too. So they are busy correcting, resetting their issue, and if they can get that thing going, because they have a big target they got to meet is next year's Olympic. They got to clean up the issue in Japan domestically so that they can invite all the athletes and all that. But right now, they are still going to have the Olympic, but that's fine. But we got to get their economy going too, because they're the one that are going to spend money in Guam, right? Yeah. And Korea, same thing. They're waiting to travel. They're anxious to travel, but domestically, their own country. When you come back, you have fun outside, great. When you come back, you're quarantined. That's their message that they're giving to the people, so they don't want to travel.
Yeah. Actually,
yeah. Sure, go ahead, Jerry.
Yeah, Nestor, I'd like to circle back to your conversation with Milton earlier about reimagining the destination. We've actually hosted like 2 webinars already and a third one coming. The first webinar actually focused on reimagining the destination and reimagining the new norms of this destination and highlighting the safety and hygiene security that needs to be embedded in our brand image. So a lot of people are involved in reimagining the destination so that it's a safe destination, not only for local residents, but for visitors coming to staying at our hotels and restaurants and so forth. So the first webinar had to do with reimagining Guam as a safe destination for travel to the very markets that Milton had alluded to. The second webinar we just concluded last week had to do with creating safe destination and living up to that reimagined destination that we had. And we had the governor speak on that. We had one of the hotel people speak about what they're doing at their hotels. And we had an industry person from GHRE talking about how to make your facilities safe. The third webinar that's coming up soon would have to do with using technology as a means to not only engage in fighting COVID, but also as a means to align ourselves with emerging technologies that relate to the travel and tourism industry. So that's kind of an overview on the three basic themes that our webinar has been pushing out.
Governor, if I can ask you, as you know, there are thousands of folks that lost their jobs or had their hours reduced as a result of essentially the shutdown of the tourism industry. What do you say to them as we continue to try and work our way back towards that? What's your message to them?
Well, fortunately and unfortunately, that the people that lost their jobs were kind of covered by the federal dollars that have come in here. But they have to start realizing now that if they don't do their part, we're not sure any more money is going to come in to carry them even further forward to alleviate the pain they would be suffering. And so the fact that they were kind of comfortable because of the monies they're getting on unemployment and some stimulus funds like that they may have not really walking up to the fact that it could get worse. And now that it's worse, because we were lax about it, that they would wake up and say, wow, if we don't get these numbers down and we don't do our part and the federal government does not send any more money, we're going to be in deep kimchi, as they would say in Japan or Korea, right? So there's the problem right there right now, is to get that message out. And Jerry is correct in trying to help the governor, help the Department of Public Health. And I know that I got some heat from businesses because my job was supposed to be to take care of the tourist industry here and the stakeholders. But if we don't just for the sake of yelling and bringing your displeasure out in the public, you know that if you can't change the governor's mind that way, we've got to find a better way to find a middle ground. And that's what we're trying to do, is you got to find that middle ground, because the governor is be willing, if we just sit ourselves down in some kind of a climate of agreement that we're going to try to understand each other's side and how they can play a major part also in the business community on how to impart to the people of Guam that we have to do our part. Just do our part for a couple of weeks and see whether we can flatten the curve. Then we can move forward. That's the message that we're trying to get GVB to get involved in carrying for the public health and the governor of Guam right now. And if we don't drum that in to the minds of the people of Guam, and we still have to contend with people that are polarizing the community further, then we're going to be moving forward in the long haul to be able to flatten the curve.
In Full Zoom is presented to you by Calvo Enterprises, Inc.
Guam's auto appearance specialist, Elegant Reflections, has been providing the automotive industry with professional detailing and car care products at its highest quality, from complete detailing, full interior detailing, exterior detailing, headlamp restoration, hand washing, seat and carpet shampoo, engine degreasing, undercarriage cleaning, paint sealant, fabric protection, paint oxidation removal, and so much more. Visit us at our new location. Call 646-5555 for an appointment. Elegant Reflections, Guam's auto appearance specialist, over 20 years of experience.
We still hand rotate every barrel. We still hand dip every bottle. We still hand cut every label and use red winter wheat from the same single-family farm. Because just like our distinctive taste, these are the marks of the maker.
In Full Zoom is presented to you by Calvo Enterprises, Inc.
So let me ask you, as a representative of Ken Corp, which was the employer of many of these thousands who lost their jobs, what's your message to those employees as they wait for the tourism industry to revive itself? The hotels are going to be there; they're not going anywhere. They're physical objects. Do you have a message for them? Should they be optimistic that we're gonna see a resurgence soon, or what would you say to them?
Well, the message that I need to send out is that it's like a pyramid scheme. If one person behave and start doing what the government says, like washing your hand, put your mask on, a hygiene protocol, and if they can send that message to people below them and to their family, to their children, it will go downward, and the entire population of Guam will start practicing that hygiene. Okay, we got almost 3,000 employees. Okay, so if that doubles and triples, then it will go out further. So it's very important that we send out a right message saying that we're not saying that Guam is going downhill. We just have to say anything. We're in the bottom already. The only thing now is to improve, right? We're not hitting down, 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 down. We hit the bottom. We just have to get up. Okay, the airlines is all zero arrivals and everything. We hit the bottom. There's no bottom anymore. Now the only way is to improve. And to improve is everybody's effort. We're small enough that people can follow direction. If they can read and write and they understand, then they should follow. You know, stay home, that means stay home. Wash your hand, that means wash your hand. Not touch someone else with a dirty hand. It's hygiene, it's education from the bottom. The children gotta understand what's all about hygiene. And if the adult cannot practice that, then it won't happen. So that's, you know, I feel so bad that we cannot keep these people employed. And like the governor said, there was stimulus check, there was a lot of handout from the feds, but that's not gonna last. And once that don't last, then there's gonna be a frustration. And before they get frustrated, we have to be proactive, not reactive. You know, we're just reactive right now. We have to be proactive and get things going, okay? And nobody's invincible. Like everybody became a cliche already. It's not if anymore, it's when, right? And that's what's happening right now. You know, all this time we didn't have this much people pray for people who pass away, but you know, it's happening. It's increasing, and that didn't happen a month ago, but it's starting to increase. So we have to control ourselves, behaviors. There's a lot of people trying to say, like Jerry said, marching on the street, the governors. That's not going to help. If you have time to march, go clean up. Do something that's positive, not negative. That's my take.
Jerry, I saw you wanted to jump in.
Yeah, necessary. I mean, Milton talked about being proactive. So actually, that's exactly what we're trying to do now, is because up to now, the community has been very, very reactive. You get a positive case and they react to that. You get a alarming trend, we're reacting to it. What we're doing proactively is finding a technology tool that can actually expedite and make more efficient this whole contact tracing issue. And so that's one way of us as part of the tourism industry, GVB, is becoming proactive in working with the people who can solve this. And the people are the health professionals and public health and those agencies that have to do the contact tracing. So in terms of what Milton was saying about being proactive, that's our other way of proactively facilitating and enabling the solution to this problem.
Yeah, and Governor, once this problem is licked, this pandemic is overcome, what's the recovery going to be like? Is it going to be gradual? Will it be pretty quick? And do you think we'll get back to where we were prior to the pandemic, which was anticipation of, you know, more record arrivals?
Fortunately, we have people in the source countries that are looking at the method and the strategies to get the people to put Guam first in their minds to travel. Avior reps, we're going to on Friday again get on a Zoom conference, and they're going to give us further strategies, especially in Japan, on how to get Guam in the front of the line. And hopefully that we're going to still look and figure out what's the best way because sometimes we're always the last one to, or we're forgotten. When they start talking about the destinations, they think Hawaii is the best place to do it. But with us, we've got to figure out how to get in the front of the line. And then that's what our representatives are helping to work with. And Milton, I'm very happy to know that as a member and vice chair of the board of GVB, he has been one of the more active ones in keeping in touch with the source markets and uncovering what's going on there. And so he gives us all of the various insights of what may be happening in their country so that we can tap into that. That's what we need to do, is to continue to stay on top of it with the people that represent us in those countries.
In Full Zoom is presented to you by Calvo Enterprises, Inc.
Nachos come with rules, like don't take the fully loaded chips, don't hog the guac, and never take the last one. But with the Grande Nachos box from Taco Bell, you can break all the rules, because this meal's all yours.
GU Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information. In Full Zoom is presented to you by Calvo Enterprises, Inc.
Yeah, we've only got a few minutes left, and let me just go around to each of you. Milton, I know you have something to say, but I just wanted to ask, so what is your vision of the future of the tourism industry? And go ahead, Milton, then I'll go to Jerry, and then we'll finish up with the governor.
Okay, the key factor here is we gotta bring the airlines back. Okay, without an airline to carry people into Guam, they're not gonna come. So we have to make it very easy for them to just tap into the airline, book the seat, and boom. Contactless, and they can just get themselves book the airlines and come here. Because right now, again, it's like starting the engine that's been dead in a garage for a long time. The battery's dead. You got to put in your key, right? So we got to start helping these people to turn on the key and give a boost on their battery, so the airline, LCC, food service carrier, everybody can start flying. And the airport is doing their best right now to make more accommodating for people to come with safety. Just was on the news yesterday, the Department of Health is working on how to deal with testing the people arriving. We are gearing up. We're getting our house ready for people to come. But the airlines is the key too, the most key. Then we got to keep on, like the governor said, thank you very much for the nice word, we need to contact all these airlines. Don't forget about us. I know you have other destinations, but we are here for you kind of attitude. And I'll keep on pushing that to get the intel on the airlines business into Guam.
And Jerry?
Okay, under the heading of bad news and good news, the bad news is, unfortunately, I don't think we're going to see a V-shaped recovery. That is going to be a gradual crawl out and hopefully start making inroads in the last of this year or first of next year, and gradually ramp up. That's the not so good news, the bad news. The good news is, to Milton's point earlier, the good news is that we are geographically positioned for 3 to 4 hour travel, and that has some appeal to our source markets in Korea, Japan, and Taiwan. Don't have to go 8 hours away. You can wear a mask for 3 or 4 hours. So that's kind of the bad news, good news message that I want to share.
All right, thanks, Jerry. Yes, the proximity is very critical for us. And Governor, final word to you.
Well, short of having to wait for a vaccine, for example, because we don't know, that's up in the air, but we do have a way to be able to tap into some of the newer testing procedures and protocols that are coming out on the market. And if we can get one of those things that are acceptable to the source countries that we're getting them, I think that we should concentrate on that. And that's why the airport, public health, they're moving forward in the abilities to test at the airport, and we are wanting to move forward so that the hotels themselves can be part of the testing procedures, and private clinics can be able to be there also for testing procedures, and they can be empowered to do that and go to the hotels. That's what we need to do, is to make it very convenient for the potential travelers to come and have that reciprocity with the source countries.
All right, thank you very much. I think the message was very clear today, gentlemen, and that we need to get over this pandemic first, and then we can look forward to trying to rebuild our economy in a slow and gradual but successful way. Thank you very much for joining us, former Governor Carl Gutierrez, Jerry Perez, and Milton Morinaga. I'm Esther Lecanto. Thanks for watching this edition of In Full Zoom.
In Full Zoom is presented to you by Calvo Enterprises, Inc.